It's a long road to trod along and a mighty long way to go. Many have gone astray. The hands of life, take my hand and help me walk upright. Come hold my hand and keep I forever right. Though I've been a disobedient child.
The first compelling visual is the landmark Gopiton. The second is its topography. Choiseul comprises a series of ridges, each with its own character and its own history. Choiseul is a vast expanse on St. Lucia's southwest coast, from As-les-Voynes at the foot of Gopiton to Balambush in the south to Saltibus in the interior. Amerindians were the first known settlers attracted by the mystical powers of the Pitons. First the peaceful Arawaks, then the warring Caribs who violently displaced them. Carib Point or La Pointe became their home and their last known settlement. Agnes Baptiste, a Carib descendant, still lives in the area once used by the Caribs as an active seaport. His mother, a Carib, told many stories of their existence at La Pointe. This is the bay where the canoes would beach after a day of fishing, a strategically critical trading point for those sailing from the south, past Soufriere and heading north. This eventually became a major trading post. Farmers would barter agricultural produce for fresh fish.
They would come down with their produce, and right here in this spot where I'm standing, there used to be this huge tamarind tree, which was a very shady one. And they would sit down underneath this tree and watch when the white sails of the sailing boats are coming in. And there they would go down to this Carib point, and this activity would take place there.
These thatch huts are part of the lingering heritage, but more significantly is the economic legacy. The Caribs are adept at using local material to create their tools of survival. Stone axes, coal pots, clay pots, mats and chairs, and of course fish pots, a legacy handed down from generation to generation. Those traditions have survived to this day in spite of the tumultuous changes that took place right here. European superpowers had arrived looking for new worlds to conquer, and although they fiercely protested, the Caribs stood little chance of stopping the English and the French from converting the Choiseul expanse into a series of sugarcane plantations. Slaves were brought in from Africa to work the land, further changing the dynamics and the ethnic makeup of the area. Choiseul was given the French name As-Citron, lime bay in English, because lime trees were in abundance. Eventually, it would become Choiseul, named after César Gabriel de Choiseul, a French foreign affairs minister. Both the French and the English, who eventually took ownership of St. Lucia, maintained the sugarcane plantations. The sugarcane is now gone, and in its place, a scarred landscape and the remnants of sugar mills. Through it all, the dominating European powers, plantation upheavals, tough plantation life, the Carib traditions survive, outlasting the plantation days. Choiseul is probably the only St. Lucian community that has retained much of its cultural heritage, and it made a brisk living off the traditional skills handed down from generation to generation. The community supplied the entire country with traditionally made coal pots, cooking pots, brooms, chairs, placemats, and many more of its creations. Most were shipped daily to Castries from this jetty in Choiseul.
And this was where the center of economic activity was for Choiseul at that time. That's why the village was very active and everything.
The craft producers lived on the many ridges that comprise the Choiseul landscape. In what is a most fascinating arrangement, each ridge somehow specialized in producing a particular kind of craft, an informal arrangement that continues to this day. This is a very unique feature about the community. It is believed the availability of material may have determined where certain craftwork originated. A lot of the work using screw pine is done at Reunion and Lafargue, such as trays, baskets, lunch boxes, wine baskets. La Pointe and Monsieur are known for their clay products, coal pots, flower vases, decorative ornaments, cooking pots, and soap dishes. In Montgouge and Martin, one will find the furniture makers specializing in dinette chairs, bar stools, children's chairs, and sofas. There are a number of producers who work with the Madras from the Debrel area. They produce hats, bags, folders, and dolls, among a long list of items. Victoria, Dakite, and Bellevue are well known for producing a range of baskets. Laundry baskets, waste paper baskets, and shopping baskets. Most of the work coming from Café involves the use of the couscous grass, placemats, floor mats, and recently following design training, a plethora of ornamental and even fashion accents. This division of labor has worked well, making Choiseul a giant factory with production lines and producers working from different areas, with each community contributing its distinctive voice to this delightful atelier. This shack has been around for many decades. It remains as one of the main locations used for the production of clay products. Mary Leo Clifford was born in that shack and from the age of 15 took active interest in learning to make the clay products just as her mom, who's still with her, had done for many years.
C'est moi qui capilité bali, café, et moi dit un jour moi dit qu'il moi pour en planche tout, moi regarder ça il café ya, moi me enlève jam moi, et moi caver la main, tout ça il fait moi fait.
The mother and daughter team has worked together for decades. Marie's mom became her midwife, delivering her 5 children. Today, they share a special bond cemented by a love for pottery.
So, il est avec moi, as a compagne. Il a supporté moi. Avec maman là. Moi là, et puis, il existe toujours. Moi, ni 5 riches. Sans l'homme, il m'a fait tout. Il a aidé moi. Moi, il a aidé, tout le monde a gagné.
Producing clay products is tough work, but Marie and her mom have been doing it for years, actually earning subsistence living off of it.
Je suis descendre cas suivant, j'ai une machine, j'ai un truck, van. Bon, actuellement, pas ni mouvement encore comme avant. Bah, slow.
Times change, coal pots are no longer a must in most households, and so demand is weak. But Marie has kept working, daily stockpiling a diversified range of products.
Moi-même, je vends des petits bails, c'est vendeuses là. Mais bail slow, je ne peux pas commander encore. So, moi, still continue. Je délai, différents monde qui crier moi, commander moi. Est-ce que ni tel bail, est-ce que ni tel bail. So, moi, juste continuer faire. Mais il a couvert. Today,
Marie has 5 children, and her only daughter, knowing the economic realities firsthand, is simply not interested in keeping the family tradition alive. Not far away is Irene Alphonse, also a potter, who inherited the skills from her mother.
Well, I started with my mother at the age of 9. I was pounding the clay and cleaning it for her. While doing that, I was doing little pots and coal pots, little knickknacks. Yeah, and from there, when I leave school, I went to the crafts center where they used to train young children in pottery, woodwork, straw baskets making. So I was in the pottery side.
Irene produces clay products daily, supplying nearby hotels with a range of items such as rustic bathroom accents and decorative utensils for restaurant staging. Irene is aware of the declining interest among the youth and has volunteered to pass on some of her knowledge and skill to those in her community of Martin.
Well, if they are interested, I am sitting right here. I can show them how to do it without getting paid.
Still in Martin, Emmanuel Alphonse, also known as Blanc, is a furniture maker, having learned from his father from an early age. After leaving school at 15, he took on the trade full time.
Après bâtiment, c'est une choc. Quand on a figé, nous avons choc. So actuellement, moi pas les pièces côté ça encore. Donc moi ici pas comme tout le monde qui vient tu vois d'ailleurs après moi ça qui pas ni à faire mettre là de même ça mon frère est venu. Mohani, on va continuer à acheter.
Lawrence Deligny has been a sculptor for 35 years, having begun back in the mid-70s, working from his community of Belleville. He supplies work regularly to the hotels in nearby Soufrière.
Though it was very hard, it's still hard up to now, but I like the trade and I find a lot of pleasure in it, The way I earn money from it is because, I have a little contract with Dantes. I do works for them, like give them a portion of work every month. I produce things like wedding gifts. So they give to people who married at the hotel. So, I make a little money. I make a living out of it. But more could have been done, but, I have to satisfied with whatever I'm doing now.
This is grown wild. That's the custards grass. The screw pine also grow wild. With this one, I bake it in an outside oven for about 3 hours, and then I bleach it. It will take a day to bleach it. With this one, which is also screw pine, it's dry on the tree, so I just pick it on the tree.
Daphne Stevens uses the screw pine and cuscus grass to produce a range of baskets and mats. She too learned from her mother from the age of 8 and today worries about the lack of interest by today's generation in the art form. Clement Henry is well known for his production of flower baskets, waste paper baskets, shopping baskets, laundry baskets, and baby bassinets. He started at the age of 14, but is now too old to make the trek to Montjimmy, St. Lucia's highest peak, to collect material for making the baskets.
I'm 75 years à présent. Bon, moi passe à travel.
Since that is new work, so it's kind of light.
Luceleen Modeste is an experienced batik artist who produces work mainly for the tourist market.
They like a lot of parrots, they like the butterflies, they like our piton, our natural flowers. The parrots, they like the hummingbird, they like the turtles, the dolphins, the sharks, they like fishes and most of our natural things.
There are many more artisans throughout the length and breadth of Choiseul. There's a shoemaker who also produces a range of leather products. He also makes the traditional drums used by folk groups in the community. Jean Cooper is well known in the community of Cafayette for using the cuscus grass to make table mats, floor mats, and a range of other products. Probably the best known Choiseul artisan is Sabinus Thomas, who started a small, quaint, eclectic distribution outlet in Choiseul for his artisan peers. Today he has an established business, Livity Art Studio, located just a few miles north of Soufrière, along the highway linking the West Coast Tourism Enclave with Castries. In Saltibus, Delia Isaac has established her own operation, producing a range of textiles, all utilizing local themes. Some of her creations incorporate the use of locally made handicraft. Her main markets are the hotels in the south of the island. Delia also produces school uniforms and designs office wear for some of the hotels in the north. Delia is a US-trained designer who has now taken an additional role of mobilizing the arts and craft producers throughout the length and breadth of the community. The arts and craft industry has served Choiseul well, but the industry has had struggles and has not developed as it should and has not kept pace with the changes in the market. The Office of Private Sector Relations, the OPSR, through a program called STRIDE, is developing a marketing and business promotion campaign for the arts and craft industry in Choiseul. STRIDE is the acronym for Strengthening Trade Through Rural Investments and Development of Entrepreneurship. OPSR has recognized the potential of the arts and craft industry in Choiseul, and specifically for the women who form the majority of crafters in the community. OPSR believes that the uniqueness of Choiseul and its reputation as an arts and craft capital of St. Lucia is well placed to develop and promote its own unique brand of craftwork for local, regional and international markets.
And this one here is the headboard, which is the design with, how you call this, heliconia.
Choiseul already produces handicraft of a very high quality and certainly the widest variety on the island. Creativity here knows no bounds. What is required now are the markets and the business knowledge and skill to find, develop and satisfy those markets.
What you have is the crafters now producing what they feel they can sell or what they are accustomed of doing, not playing heed to the market demand. And that present project which is put on through OPSR is to assist the crafters to understand that when they're producing the goods, they must have the market in mind.
What's lacking in the industry is the knowledge of business. The people who create the craft have no knowledge of how to create a production for business. They can do 1 or 2 pieces, and if you want a large quantity for a store, then it becomes a problem because they don't have the raw materials on hand and perhaps they don't have people to help them, and that's really the problem.
OPSR is working with a group called CATCH, the Choiseul Association of Craft and Heritage Tourism. The objective is to find ways of revitalizing the craft industry, defining a brand for Choiseul craft, and exploring marketing strategies, including the use of e-commerce.
Most of the crafters are depending on the craft for livelihood, but they don't see it as a business. They don't know how to advertise themselves. They know nothing about promotion.
Okay, they can take that basket and redesign it because we want all other things. We don't just want a basket. We want baskets to put sandwiches. We want picnic baskets, you know. So they can recreate. They can take a couple of designs and establish a whole line.
I believe we should go for smaller products, even beads, for example, that people would buy. And we need to look at the market, what people are willing to spend money on, and not what we enjoy making.
When tourists come into our island, they're looking for something to take back to their country. And of course, they want something locally made.
This one is a collaboration with a lady from Choiseul called Daphne. We do the calabash part and she does the straw weaving. And she does a beautiful job. So we've been able to sell quite a few of these because it's not just one person's work. It's about 3 people involved in making the final product.
The new approach also calls for the incorporation of new technology to make it less arduous, more precise, and generally more appealing as a viable career option, an entrepreneurial option for the uninterested youth.
We need to put in some new technology into the craft sector. It is still being done the traditional way, and young people are attracted to technology, and probably with the input of some form of technology, probably that may encourage young people to do.
You can use the computer to embellish your art, to color it, to see what it's going to look like prior to putting that piece of art on. So they can take a picture of a raw pottery, put it on the computer, and create some kind of coloring design to see if it will work first. And then you can get an idea of what that piece of pottery will look like.
E-commerce is already being used by some artisans to sell their products online. The OPSR project is assisting Choiseul in upgrading its website to facilitate this e-commerce.
They will create for us a website where the crafters can identify and sell their product online. That's one of the first things. We're also going to have an international fair to introduce Choiseul as the place to come for all St. Lucians, all Caribbean people to come in to buy their craft or to view what is the latest in craft.
These students should be the future of the arts and craft industry in Choiseul. They are talented and creative and fully aware of the craft tradition in the community, but are not inspired to follow in the footsteps of their parents.
Rude Boy Reality. With a Biggie Smalls literary philosophy and the Tupac Shakur immortal imagery, Rude Boy life is a harsh reality, an enumeration of the living in a color-clad prophecy.
Stephen Dantes, performance poet, is from Choiseul. He's a multi-talented author, artist, and web designer. He appreciates the value of the craft industry, but sees no direct future for him in it.
I was just fascinated by it because the amount of time and skill that was injected into that, I mean, it's just amazing. It's amazing. But it's not something that I really wanted to do because, I mean, I loved it, I was fascinated by it, but I knew that I wouldn't have the time and the patience for it. I probably didn't have the skill for it too, you know.
The art and craft, especially the craft in itself, doing the raw work, the clay, the straw, and the carving of wood and all of that, the young people see that as you know, hard labor. Another reason I believe is that they don't see the kind of economic benefits in that, because the basket, making the basket and taking it to the market to sell, there's not much to them. There's not much funds generated from that.
I mean, and when you kind of like analyze this with the time it takes to do it, the returns from it, you realize that persons would generally move to something else because it would, I mean, they have to do a lot. They have to market themselves, they have to get the skill, they have to spend the time, and it is something that I would say that a lot of persons in St. Lucia itself don't appreciate.
You know, money has a big part to play, you know. If you had an incentive where, you know, that looks favorable, you know, you're getting a good monies, then you could have remain with, you know, the youth could have stay with the culture and do it. But you need a big amount. The youths are going out for more money right now. So we need to put in something in place in terms of monies, because money is the problem, you know. That's why we leave our roots, we leave our culture, we leave our healthy lifestyle, and we're looking for money.
You heard the crafters say their children see how hard they work, how difficult it is to do work. The young children do not want to go into that. But if something can be done, products have been produced, market, and they can see, you know, some kind of heavy returns to their parents, it will encourage the young children.
There is a proposal from CATCH, the Choiseul Association of Craft and Heritage Tourism, to get active arts and craft programs in schools throughout Choiseul. Currently, the only exposure students have is through their visual arts class.
The young people are very interested in craft making, but no one has really taken them and shown them what really is involved in craft making, because they don't really have to sit and weave the basket. They can go and find the raw material for the person who's weaving. That's a business in itself.
The economic potential in Choiseul is huge. The community has an arts and craft industry that is waiting to be developed and properly marketed. In addition, there is abundant natural beauty, culture, and history, which bundled has amazing revenue potential. There is evidence throughout Choiseul of its colonial past and the extent of the sugar cultivation that took place there. This scenically located windmill is one of the many used by the sugarcane factories. Watermills were also used. This one on the Balambush estate is a tourist attraction. There's a lot of history associated with this hydro-powered sugar factory at Balambush, along with a plantation house which is over 100 years old. Choiseul also has other historical sites, including this Anglican church at Rivière Doree, established by missionaries 164 years ago.
History has it that it was built by the Alexander family, who were missionaries way back in 1846. These people were also associated with education, and if you notice, there's a school right next door that was also built sometime later under the micro charity grant. One of the first schools again built in St. Lucia.
In the Choiseul village is Our Lady of Lourdes Church. Talk of its construction began in 1898 by Father René Roger, who devoted his entire life to the Choiseul community. The funds and materials for building the church came from the community. The fundraising began in 1899, and by 1914, construction costs totaled £2,410 sterling.
Hello, welcome to La Maison Kirol. My name is Teresa Pascal.
Teresa Pascal has converted every inch of a home into a museum.
You have the black pots where we used to fry the fish cakes. This one was used to stew the pork or the beef, whatever, chicken. This one is also for fish cakes. These are for fish and sauce.
She has used her 30 years of experience working in museums in Europe to create this, a fascinating collection of all kinds of artifacts imaginable.
I love flowers, so as you will see around, all around have flowers. I love orchids. That's a lovely orchid. And here is the house my dad and I built.
Choiseul also offers a combination of outdoor experiences, including picnic areas at Sabusha Beach to Pi Beach, once heavily sun-mined, and now restored by an entrepreneurial resident. This once stony beach is now developed with facilities catering to residents and visitors.
Now we have a number of visitors coming to, take a lime on the beach, relax on the beach, coming to visit the spot. So it's been different. The community itself is quite happy, and they've acknowledged the difference and want to be a part of it.
Choiseul also provides scenic forest walks where one can admire the beauty of the natural environment. This forest area called Bois Magasin is also home to the St. Lucian parrot, the Amazona versicolor. This area is also home to a number of spectacular waterfalls. This one is in the heights of Solibus. Access is yet to be fully developed, but obviously these are spectacular attractions with unlimited potential. Choiseul as a community is well poised for major development. The objective of OPSR through Stride is to refocus and energize the craft industry.
We're hoping at the end of the project, Choiseul will have a special brand for its product. So wherever you are, once you purchase a product, you know that's a Choiseul product.
Choiseul is already established as the island's leading producer of arts and craft. It has an active youthful population. Some of its athletes have done St. Lucia proud and are poised to do a lot more. Choiseul is self-sufficient in the supply of fish and obviously well served by fish vendors. The fishing industry is vibrant, with fishermen supplying to major hotels throughout the south and also to the north of St. Lucia. Choiseul also has a rich agricultural tradition, from sugarcane plantations in the past to hillside farms with yields that adequately account for its food security and potential for supplying markets outside of the village. Women, too, are actively involved in farming. Christina Sonson is one of the leading farmers.
I do yams, tomatoes, cabbages, seasoned pepper, salad beans, plantain, tanya, cassava.
Amongst the variety of agricultural products produced here, Choiseul's 7 Ps enhance both its lore and its allure. To borrow from Derek Walcott's Islands, merely to name them is the prose of diarists. For the 7 Ps for which Choiseul is well known, read like Creole poetry: Pouine, patate, pistache, poisson, poignet, pomme cité, et poingol. Irrigation infrastructure has been installed in the Delcer community to benefit over 70 farmers who need to diversify into a variety of crops but needed a reliable water supply throughout the year. Through a project funded under the Banana Commercialization and Agricultural Diversification Program, this is now in place.
That system will guarantee the farmers a continuous supply throughout the dry season.
Choiseul is truly a unique community. Its small population is scattered over many ridges, each with its distinctive character. It's a community that grows its own food, produces its own furniture, cooking utensils, ornaments, craftwork, and sustains the legacy of its indigenous peoples. Choiseul gives an experience that is exceptional. It is the epicenter of creativity, the final home of Amerindian settlers, and the pride of St. Lucia.
The hymns of life.
Come visit. Explore and experience by visiting and sampling this authentic village living, and by purchasing the local arts and craft from Choiseul, you sustain the custodians of our traditions. Celebrate Choiseul and you celebrate a people's creativity, imagination, and a living heritage.
Stay with me more than just a while, my guy. Embrace me, the hands of life. Don't desert me, for I'm a homeless child. Touch me, the hands of life. Resurrect I